So near yet so far, that was what the West Indies cricket team might be thinking. For 32 years, they had not won a series against South Africa, be it at home or be it in South Africa. Overall, if you look at it, they have won only 4 or 5 matches against them in this 32-year period. Many people thought that Providence Guyana would give the stage where West Indies ends their jinx, but no. When they lost the second test by 40 runs, it meant that their pain would be prolonged. And because of South Africa's win, the WTC cycle has kind of become very, very interesting, because now the midpoint has crossed. We are now reaching September, October, November, December, January. Most likely February also, because 5 months are remaining for this WTC cycle to end. Now, how this win has impacted the finals race, India looks comfortable, but now there might be a tussle between 4 teams, because if you look at the updated PCT that is there at this point in time, the percentage points, India are first with 68.5, and they will only need about 5 wins to ensure they make it to the final, and looks like all the 5 wins could happen at home itself. Australia need to ensure that they do not lose a series versus India, because if they do, then the likes of New Zealand, Sri Lanka and South Africa could catch up with them. Now, at this point in time, this is the number of matches that has been played, and this is the number of games that is remaining for them. So, at this point in time, if you look at it, Australia have ended their WTC cycle with just 2 series remaining for them. New Zealand will end against England, that is the November-December series. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, they have certain series now. They have played only 2 series, and that is why if you look at it, August onwards they will be playing. From 22 August onwards, 21 August onwards, 3 tests versus England. South Africa, on the other hand, they look good now for a finals berth, because their next 2 series are going to happen at home. They anyway ended a jinx because they hadn't won anything since December. January they lost to India, and then they lost to New Zealand as well. West Indies they held out for a draw, now they have won here. They have 2 home series plus 1 away potentially versus Bangladesh. Pakistan are ending it in January. England are also about to end with a series versus Pakistan and New Zealand. Then Bangladesh also are there, followed by West Indies that will end in the series versus Pakistan. Now, these are the remaining series that is there for most of the top teams. I'm looking at the teams that are potentially in contention. India versus Bangladesh, 2 tests, September 2024. India versus New Zealand, 3 tests will be in that October-November period that we are looking at. India, Australia, the BGT. Again, it could be a preview to the ICC World Test Championship final that will be held at Lord's in June. So, this 3 series, if you look at it, India look assured of a final spot unless New Zealand and Australia decide to turn the tables on them. Australia. Now, they have 5 tests against India, and if they lose that, and if they don't do well against Sri Lanka, the dates for the Australia-Sri Lanka test series has not yet been announced. If they don't do well against India, and unlike the last time where they were held to a 1-1 draw by Sri Lanka, it could impact their World Test Championship chances, because Australia have only 1 series at home and 1 away. England was away for them, New Zealand was away from them, Sri Lanka could be the last series that determines them. And Australia could be in a precarious position, and that loss that happened to them at the Gabba against the West Indies could haunt them. South Africa. Now, South Africa are in a very good position for the World Test Championship final, because 2 tests at home versus Sri Lanka, 3 tests versus Pakistan. You know that South Africa could very well make a push, and they have a good record at home. Against Sri Lanka, yes, they lost in 2019, but then they have bounced back since then. Pakistan have not won a series versus South Africa away, so that is why they will be desperate now to ensure that they continue the winning momentum. But South Africa's last series is also potentially against Bangladesh. The dates we don't know. Maybe around January end you will come to know whether the 2 tests are happening or not. So that is why South Africa versus Bangladesh could determine whether they go to the final also, provided they win 5 in their remaining matches that's there. New Zealand are also in there at this point. They play 2 tests versus Sri Lanka in September, that is away. But they play 3 tests in India. They have not won in India for 35 plus years. So that is why it is very important for New Zealand that if they have to keep their WTC final hopes alive, they have to beat India. Sri Lanka also, they can't afford a 1-1 draw, they have to win the series. New Zealand, England at home could be a major problem for them. So that is why New Zealand have the trickiest draw heading into the WTC final. Then everybody will want, oh, is an India versus Pakistan final possible? It could be possible. Pakistan are anyway playing 2 tests versus Bangladesh at home. They can very well win that. But Pakistan, England and Pakistan, South Africa could very well upset that. If England continue their domination like how they did last time they toured Pakistan, then they are in trouble. Pakistan versus South Africa, they don't have a good record in South Africa. That could also upset them. Pakistan, West Indies, now that is the last series that they play at home. So that is why it's going to be a big challenge for Pakistan to make it. So, looking at the WTC cycle now, you only have 5 months remaining because from February onwards until March, you're going to see the Champions Trophy followed by the IPL. Not many series will be held in that period when you look at tests. So that is why very important for South Africa to not slip up, for New Zealand to not slip up, Australia in particular, they should not slip up. But if Australia win the BGT, then at this point in time, you're looking at an Australia-India final yet again, this time at Lord's. Thank you so much folks for joining us for this video. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis.